I am Mukesh Chopra this side, and I have been working in the field of IT arena for more than 30 years as of now. Have been specifically looking into the various different technologies and have a special zing on the Microsoft technologies, uh, specializing on the various domains like PowerPoint, Excel, Word, and so on. Um, till now, I have been training the students, and they have moved ahead in a very proper manner. The total number of students that I have managed to train till now has crossed more than 200, and thereby the kind of number of hours per student that I have put in on an average has been beyond 20 hours per student. So thereby, so that's the kind of the training effort that I have been taking up in just 1 month. Now, when I take a look on the various different kinds of methods that I am using wherever for putting across my training, the basic difference that I am sharing my ideas is with respect to not only get a theoretical point forward, but apart from that, I'm also sharing the details with respect to the practical aspect, where I'll be sharing the aspect of how a specific topic actually works when it is shown on the screen, not only on the theoretical manner, but also in a practical manner. So when we'll be working on our specific topics, we'll subsequently be taking an example, a live example, which is happening in front of you. And you'll be able to see how that technology and how that technique is actually working. And thereby that kind of a process is actually benefiting each and every student, which gives a massive jump to all the understanding techniques, as well as the student get a massive confidence factor in getting to do what all they are actually willing to look forward for. Without any further ado, I would like to proceed ahead with respect to the presentation that I am planning to share with you today. So friends, the basic topic that we'll be covering up over here would be with respect to how do we work with respect to the conditional formatting in Excel. Now, when we talk about conditional formatting, what exactly is conditional formatting? So when we look into the conditional formatting, it's a way by which we are visualizing our data in Excel. So when we say visualizing data in Excel, there are various ways of visualizing data. The data can be visualized in the form of graphs, in the form of various charts. But on the contrary, as an add-on point, we also have the specific component, which is the data itself. And the data starts talking and visualizing itself in the form of the sheet. So that is where the visualization of data is aspect which actually the conditional formatting provides us as the aspect of getting the empowering of the data when we look forward for showing how the data is shared across. So apart from that, when we talk about the conditional formatting, here we'll see, as you can see over here, the data presentation is not only shown in the form of colors, but also in the form of varieties, which could be in the form of icons, in the form of data bars, in the form of various different options that are there, all linked with the cell value, with the data value. And that itself is created when we create a specific conditional formatting rule. Now, how do we go ahead creating a conditional formatting rule? So when we go ahead, basically, it is executed when we take the conditional formatting command, when we execute this from our home menu. So from the home menu, when we go into the conditional formatting aspect, we get this as our drop down. And basically on this, we have the first two options shown as the preset options. And these preset options are the ones which are defined, because these are kind of specific rules which are identified. But these options also take up certain identified set of activities, which I'll be sharing with you shortly. Apart from that, we also have the preset format rules, which are in the form of data bars, color scales, icon sets. And these three different sections have various different executions that represent the data based on the variety of data range that we have selected. Apart from that, what we see in below the section over here, these are the areas where we can either create or manage the rules that we have already created and put in place. Now, when we proceed ahead, when we talk about the presets, these presets, like I mentioned earlier, is specific to the data bars, the color scales, as well as the icon sets. These allow Excel to quickly identify and share the information in a specific order based on the respective category. And like I mentioned, the rules which is related to the conditional formatting can be managed and can also be cleared based on the specific identification of the rules that are put in place. Now, let's see how all these things are actually executed when we do the practical work. So let's take a tour in practical visualization of how the data works. So let's proceed ahead in our Excel. So if this is my data, for instance, now this data is containing the information of employee-wise data with respect to their range, their regions, their date of births, their respective basic pay, the bonus, as well as the net salary. Now, for instance, if I would like to identify the set of basic or the basic salary which is greater than a specific value, so what I can do is I can highlight that with a specific range of value. For instance, I want to highlight all those cells which have the salary greater than 40,000. So as soon as I put that value over here, I identify those values, and based on that I can select whatever color that I would like to select. So based on these values, I can see that these are the specific rules which are there, and as and when any value is converted and that cell it goes beyond 40,000, for instance, I change the value to 41,000, you'll see that the color of this cell automatically is changed. So thereby Excel takes care of the data visualization in that form and is representing the data in the range that has been selected, and that value is then showed in that very specific color. In the same manner, I can also highlight the values which are less than 20,000. In this case, there is no. So let's say 30,000. So these are all the values which are less than 30,000. So in this case, the specific values can be highlighted for certain employees, wherein these are the people where the basic is less than 30,000, and the green ones are the ones which are greater than 40,000. So thereby certain specific identification of the cells as well as the information can be fetched out from the rule which has been put in place on conditional formatting. In the same manner, going ahead, how do we manage the rules? We can go ahead and we can clear the rules based on the selected cells. So I can go ahead and I can manage them. Further, in the same way, I can put the same value put in place in the form of data bars. So when I say data bars, if I select a color, you'll notice that the data is represented in the form of bars, whereas these bars are actually created based on the maximum value, and whatever is the maximum value based on that ratio, the rest of the data is then automatically highlighted. As you can see, the maximum value over here is 50,000. These two values are 50,000, which are subsequently automatically highlighted. And now, if you change any one of these values, say for example, from 23,000, if I change this value to, for example, 45,000, you will note that the bar has now altered with respect to 50,000. And in case if I increase, or if I put this value to 80,000, you will note that the rest of the bars are automatically aligned, keeping in ratio the maximum value which has been highlighted over here. So Excel is doing all that relative calculation and exhibition of the bars with respect to the length of the values, rather the scale of the values based on these bars. So that's how the presentation of these values can be taken up. Apart from this, what can also be done, for instance, we can highlight the net salary, the values within the various different colors. Now, what does this mean? So as you can see, you will see that the colors are shown in various different scales of colors. The specific colors which are shown are specifically taken up in green. The green value is the one which is going towards the higher value, the highest value. The red one is the one which is representing the value which is in the lowest value. Whereas the yellow value is the one which is approximately towards the mean. So any value which is above the mean and the highest value is appearing in various different shades of green. Whereas any value which is between the mean and the lowest value is highlighted in the shades of orange, as can be seen over here. So again, Excel is doing the calculation based on the values on its own. So thereby, these values are taken up and highlighted based on the conditional formatting. Further, you can also see that I can put certain icons. Now there are variety of icons where you can select 3 icons, 4 icons, 5 icons. All these various different kinds of icons can be selected and put in place. For example, this is the icon which I can share across with you as 3 triangles. Now, how this is reflecting the value. So all the values which are there in the red triangle are the ones which are below the mean. And all the values which are having this horizontal line is reflecting the value which is approximately equal to or near about the mean. And the value which is above, which is above the mean, is shown in the green triangle pointing upwards. So that way, the representation of the values has taken place over here. Now, if I go ahead and I would like to clear the rules, I can specifically go and either clear the rules for the selected cells. So now when I say clear the rules, it will automatically go and change the values for all the specific rules that have been created. In the same manner, if I take a look on the set of values for a set of students, now I have the set of scores that each student has achieved. Now, what I would like to see is I would like to highlight all the cells where the value is less than, say, 70%. So all the value which are less than 70% are automatically highlighted. Now, as you would be seeing, so these are specific scores of students where I can follow up with them and I can tell them that, look, you need to work on these skills. You need to work on specific values, or you need to work on specific subjects on the basis of which you can improve your performance. On the contrary, as you can see, I can also go ahead, clear about the entire rule, and now I can select the same rule. I can create the same rule, but in place of giving a value, I can link it to a specific cell. Now if I link it to a specific cell, the value which is entered over here is automatically highlighted. So all the values which are less than 75 are shown over here. And if I alter this value, and in place of 75, if I enter, say 65, you'll see that my values which are getting highlighted are automatically changed. So thereby, I am putting a check on getting the values being highlighted from a control of a cell. And based on the control of this cell, the specific conditional formatting is automatically taken up. Further, as another example, we can see a list of all the people or the salesmen who have shared these respective sales for each and every month. Now, for example, we put a check over here that I want to highlight all the values which are greater than, for instance, 4,000. So as you see, I can identify these are the values which are greater than 4,000 for all these salespeople. And it can be very easily seen and made out that for these 2 months, which is September and October, the sales have been very, very particular and perfect based on the target. However, it is very clear that the sales in August have actually not reached the target. And thereby, it can also highlight the cells wherein they have not met the target. In the same range, I can add another scale where I can say the value which is less than, for example, 2,000. So I want to highlight all the values which are less than 2,000. Now, in this case, as you can see, we have two different rules which are applied simultaneously. The values which are less than 2,000 are appearing in red, whereas the values which are greater than 4,000 are appearing in green. In case, now if I would like to manage the rules, what I can do is I can go to manage rules. And so first I select the range. So based on this range, if I go and say manage rules, I get the list of rules which are active on the specific range. I can identify which one I would like to edit or delete. For example, I want to remove the rule for less than 2,000. So in this case, I can just delete that and say OK. So in this case, as you can see, the specific rule that is applied is left out. The rest rules are then taken off. So friends, as we have seen in the data and the examples, conditional formatting is very, very helpful in identifying the values and sharing the information pertaining to how the data representation can be done. The data representation is not only to be shown in the form of graphical manner, but in this way, we are using the power of Excel and we are using the full control of the data, that based on the data as well as the values which are there on the components of the information which is stored in each and every cell, the value and as well as the representation, be it the color, be it the bar, be it the icons, we can alter, we can identify those things upfront and share those to the specific set of audience. And thereby, even if we are using those rules, it can help us, it can benefit us in identifying that, see, these are the specific values which are actually meeting the criteria or not meeting the criteria. Thereby, we can take required actions so that specific activities can be taken up upfront and we can save a lot of effort and money. So I think that is what I would like to suggest as per my visualization for the conditional formatting. Thank you for being there with me. Thank you so much.